Today on the show, you and I talk to the legendary Slash of Guns N' Roses and Velvet Revolver. Plus, how many arguments is it normal for you to have with your significant other during the holidays?
Welcome to the future, where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is annulled, and a new future is born.
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many. AD on the radio.
So have you ever been to therapy? Why have you been to therapy? See, when I went to a shrink for a while, it was for a couple different reasons. There were some pretty intense things going on in my personal life. There were a myriad of family issues to unpack that were affecting my ability to go through life in a productive way. And then also, and I find this to be incredibly useful, one of the things that I went to therapy for was to find out what was normal. Now, I don't know about your upbringing, but everyone's is a little different. And, well, because of the way I was raised, moving around an awful lot, having parents that had to work an awful lot that weren't necessarily around, there was kind of a missing barometer for me in terms of what's normal, what's acceptable. And so sometimes I would go to my shrink, and a lot of the time I would go to my shrink, and I think this was one of the most useful things I ever did with him, was go, hey, I feel this way. Is this normal? Or this happened. This person said or did this to me. I got outrageously upset. Is this normal? Am I being normal, or am I acting crazy? Or this seems crazy to me. Is it? Or I've been accepting this as normal for a very long time, and you're here to tell me it's not. Okay. And, you know, I could bore you with a bunch of examples, but finding out what's normal, what's acceptable, what is the accepted norm as we make our way through the world is sort of a useful thing because it allows you to take your own temperature. And for that reason, I thought I would share this piece of information with you. First and foremost, today, we're essentially just killing time until we talk to the legendary Slash of Guns N' Roses and Velvet Revolver fame. But if you are like a lot of people, it is the most stressfulest time of the year. The holiday season is amazing. I love it. I love holidays. I love Christmas. I love Christmas because I can't think of another instance where more of the world comes together in the spirit of goodwill toward all. And I know there's a lot of cynical types that'll tell me that it's all just a sham. It's all just a Hallmark holiday. I get it. I understand. I'm sure there's a certain amount of truth to that. But whether you are invested religiously in Christmas or not, I think that it's a beautiful day because, like I said, it bonds more of the world in the spirit of goodwill toward all than anything I can think of. And I think that you can feel that. I love it. I truly love the holidays. But that said, the run-up to the holidays have been famous for being more than a little stressful. Sometimes the holidays themselves, bearing in mind the familial complications that come with hanging out with relatives that you secretly despise but put up with twice a year during the holidays, well, those can make things a little testy too, especially in the relationship department. So if you are having arguments, fights with your significant other in the run-up to the holiday season, I thought it would be useful for you and I to unpack what exactly is normal. See, even if you love the holidays, there's part of you that hates all the stress that comes with them. And 2 new surveys on holiday stress just came out, and they help us determine what is normal. They found that 88% of us find the holidays to be immensely stressful. And for people who have to travel, that's 98%. Meaning if there's any travel involved in your holiday season, you are going to be stressed the hell out, my friend. And, well, like I said, it's normal to feel that way. It's good to know what's normal. If you're feeling stressed going into the holidays, it's good to know, okay, that's reasonable of me. I'm a reasonable human being to be stressed the hell out of my mind because I'm traveling on Christmas freaking Eve. That's normal. And, well, here's some interesting things that they took away from the study as well with regard to holiday stress. The average couple, and this is where you might want to start keeping score, the average couple will get into 7 holiday-related fights this year. Now, What are you fighting with your significant other about in the run up to the holidays? Well, the most common things we fight about are where to spend the holidays. Your family's place or my family's place, or can we do both, but your family lives out of state, and sure, fine, I'll just pay for the plane ticket to go see your uncle and my mother-in-law that I can't freaking stand, or whatever the case may be. So people fight about where to spend the holidays. And then finances. Finances are something that really kind of, the more you look at it, if you can get on the same page as a couple with finances, that's a big part of the battle, because that is a very consistent argument. And well, that spills over into the holiday season. People argue about how much to spend on gifts. Apparently, like 15% of us have also argued about whether to get a real tree or a fake tree. Has that ever been a fight in your home? I could kind of see it. Look, the holidays, as much as they're supposed to be about connecting, in some ways, they're your only chance to kind of rest and relax all year. And if there's one of you that doesn't want to go deal with getting a real tree and hauling it home and trimming it and dealing with it being watered and all of the above, like, a real tree is a beautiful, wonderful, fragrant smelling, messy inconvenience. I don't know where I fall down on this one. I've had a real tree, I've had a fake tree, and I gotta say, either way, I'm fine with it. But, and you know what? The first time I got a fake tree, I was like, oh, you Philistine, this is so not the Christmas spirit. What the hell are you doing? And then I got the fake tree and I was like, oh, packs right up in the box. Looks pretty good too. My 7-foot linden pine. Well, I love how rather than just putting in a box and saying fake tree, they actually tell you what kind of fake tree it's supposed to be. Yes, I have in my garage a 7-foot linden pine. I wouldn't know a linden pine in real life if I saw it, but I know it when I take it out of the box. Overall, the 5 most stressful things about this time of year are buying presents, managing your budget, cooking and prepping the house for guests, and cleaning up before you have people over. That's stressful, right? I'm kind of a neat freak. I maintain a reasonably clean residence. I don't have that much stuff. I don't have that much tchotchke, but man, the idea that someone might do a pop-in and my place isn't where I want it to be, that stresses me out, not even during the holiday seasons. I avoid having people over. If someone's going to come over to my place to like use the pool or something like that, or if someone's going to come over to my place and we're going to go to the gym and work out together, I'm like, cool, meet you at the locker room. You can get changed there. No, you can't get changed in my house. Ugh, oh my God, the idea of someone else being sweaty and naked in my bathroom or my shower. No, thank you very much. Is that weird? Maybe I should talk to my shrink about whether that's normal or not. 67% of people traveling for the holidays say staying with family is stressful. Yeah, staying with family is stressful. And 48% of us think that we'd get along with them a little better if we stayed somewhere else. I understand all of these things. But bottom line is, if you've had 7 arguments with your significant others in the run-up to the holidays, you, my friend, are normal.
Real radio.
104.1.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
So like you and I were saying earlier, we are essentially killing time today until we get a chance to talk to the legendary Slash of Guns N' Roses and Velvet Revolver fame. We'll do that in just a little bit, but while we wait, let's you and I take a look at the events of today in our segment, My Witness News, shall we? So, you and I were talking earlier about what's normal in the realm of arguments. How many arguments does a couple tend to have in the run-up to the holidays? And the answer is 7. You have 7 big arguments with your significant other going into the holidays. Are you arguing with your kids at all? Here's the thing. How many arguments do you think you're supposed to have with your children? Those little cherubic apples of your eye. The glorious and celebrated offspring, the fruit of your loins. How many disagreements are you supposed to have with your kid? Well, as it turns out, the number is really freaking high. Over your lifetime and their lifetime, parents have over 4,200 arguments with their kids. Yeah, parents have 4,200 arguments with their kids and then some. Parents, I'm not trying to tell you how to talk to your children. That is down to you. Never would dream of it. But do remember, every last one of those 4,200 arguments has an effect on what kind of rest home they choose for you. Speaking of parents, a Tennessee man named Luke Skywalker was busted for a parole violation. Stole a bunch of road signs. Yeah, Tennessee man named Luke Skywalker was busted for parole violation. Oh, too bad his father passed away. Would have been so proud that his son turned to the dark side. You and I actually talked about this on the show yesterday at length. Neil deGrasse Tyson has denied accusations of sexual misconduct. Among the women accusing him is one woman who said that he groped her when they took a picture together. Now, did you hear Neil deGrasse Tyson's defense for this? The woman, a fellow physicist, I believe, the woman had a tattoo of the solar system on her arm. And Neil deGrasse Tyson is apparently all into what he calls cosmic bling. But he was curious to see whether or not Pluto was part of the tattoo. Pluto was obviously demoted from its planetary status, and Tyson had a thing or two to do with that. And, well, he said that he was looking for Pluto, and the place where Pluto maybe would have been was obscured by her dress. So he said that he was moving her dress so he could see whether or not her tattoo of the solar system included Pluto. Yeah. Neil deGrasse Tyson, after being accused of groping a woman when they took a picture together, defended himself by saying he was just trying to get a better look at her tattoo and see if Pluto was part of it, and he got too close. At least he stopped short of looking for Uranus. I don't know. It's weird. Do you buy that argument? Do you buy that defense? You would think that as an astrophysicist, Neil deGrasse Tyson would respect, space. So, Did you hear about this crime committed by an 83-year-old in a Whole Foods? Got him locked up last week. Yeah, an 83-year-old woman was locked up last week for something she did at a Whole Foods. What was it? If you're one of the people that listens to one of our affiliates in Florida, whether it's Real Radio in Orlando or Real Radio in Palm Beach, you might have heard about this. An 83-year-old Florida woman was arrested for stealing $200 worth of groceries from Whole Foods. Yeah, 83-year-old Florida woman arrested for stealing $200 worth of groceries from Whole Foods. Wow. $200 worth of Whole Foods groceries. Hope she enjoyed that one medium organic peach. So, one of the disheartening things about the world of sports is how corruption seems to be sneaking in earlier and earlier. And this is, a news story that falls directly into that category. Disheartening thing to do with sports because of early corruption. I mean, you hear stories of high school athletes now testing positive for PEDs. You hear stories of colleges offering bribes to potential football and baseball players. But now, it's gotten even worse, and the world of youth sports has been corrupted by organized crime. How so? Well, did you see that a gambling ring that was betting on youth football games was recently broken up by the police? Yeah. An illegal gambling ring that was betting on youth football games was broken up by the cops. Which is terrible. And also really stupid. Only because if you want to gamble on amateur football, well, you got the Oakland Raiders. So if I told you this past week just gone by that someone farting in line at a store, again, this is a story you might be familiar with if you listen on our station in Orlando, our station in Palm Beach. If I told you that someone farting in line at a store led to violence and arrests, what store do you think that would be? Have a guess. See if you're right. Well, the full story is this. A Florida woman was arrested for pulling a knife on a man behind her in a Dollar General store checkout line after he complained about her excessive flatulence. Yeah. She farted, he complained, she pulled a knife on him. The woman was apparently charged with assault with a deadly weapon. Probably got in trouble for the knife, too. Could have been worse for the guy. Could have been in line behind someone writing a check. So did you hear which legendary movie character is being retired? This is an interesting one. Which legendary movie character is being retired? There's been a lot of this going on. These massive pop culture figures are riding off into the sunset, going away. Motley Crue hung it up a little while ago. Ozzy Osbourne's apparently getting ready to retire. Harrison Ford did his last turn as Han Solo. All these, like I said, legendary pop culture figures that we've grown up with are dropping like flies. And Rocky is no different. Yeah. Sylvester Stallone has announced that he's retiring Rocky Balboa, which is sad if you grew up watching Rocky Balboa's exploits in your lifetime, but it does sort of make sense as well. Only because having the eye of a tiger is not as intimidating when the tiger has had cataract surgery and needs bifocals. Ooh, question for you. Do you read horror fiction? Scary books, is that a thing for you? What do you think is the scariest book you've ever read? Tweet me your answer at ADSXE. I gotta tell you, if you allow yourself to get into it, Dante's Inferno can be pretty chilling stuff. Edgar Allan Poe's Telltale Heart, I mean, that's more of a short story, but it doesn't matter how many times I read that thing. It has me on the edge of my seat every time. But I think the scariest book I've ever read was, well, I actually reread Stephen King's It after the movie came out. And the movies, if you're into that kind of thing, really, really good. But you forget that the book is a journey into fear itself. That probably takes the cake for scariest book I've ever read. Generally speaking, works of fiction don't scare me. I'm like, it's not real. But Stephen King's It, that kind of got to me. Call me cliched, but it did. That said, did you hear which book has the Kardashian family terrified? The Kardashian family are reportedly scared out of their minds over a book for sort of a different reason. The Kardashians are reportedly terrified over Lamar Odom's upcoming tell-all book. Right. Makes sense. Mostly because the Kardashians are frightened it's going to tell a whole bunch of deep, dark family secrets, but also, I would imagine, because it's a book with words instead of pictures. Hey, so if you cast your mind back to what was happening this time last year, do you remember what was going on? Well, let me refresh your memory. You know, it was about a year ago that you and I found out that Matt Lauer was in fact a horrifying sex monster, and he was canned from his job as a celebrated television journalist for being a horrifying sex monster. Now, do you know what's interesting is what Matt is up to now? Specifically, one unbelievable aspect of Matt Lauer's relationships with women in 2018. How is Matt Lauer doing with the ladies? I kind of couldn't believe it. Matt Lauer is reportedly dating 7, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different women. He's doing just fine with the ladies. Yeah, Matt Lauer is reportedly dating 7 different women. And apparently, they're all very different. Matt Lauer has said that he believes variety is the spice of life, and he's trying to figure out who he is. So he's doing that by dating 7 very different women. Here's the thing, though. While these women all are very different ages, come from different walks of life, they do have one very important thing in common, and that is absolutely terrible taste in men. All right, one more last piece of news before you and I talk to Slash of Guns N' Roses. Did you hear which musicians said their goal in the new year is to be more like Jesus? I guess it's not too early to start making New Year's resolutions because, like I said, this musician, one of the biggest on earth, said their goal in the new year is to be more like Jesus. Who? Justin Bieber. Yeah, Justin Bieber said he wants to be more like Jesus in the new year. Ooh, if by that he means disappearing for 2,000 years, then I am all for it.
For more stimulation and less irritation, 9 out of 10 doctors choose KPRC AM 950, Houston's more stimulating talk radio.
Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radioland. All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah. Give it up, yeah. Bring this on, come on, come on.
You and I will have a chat with a living, breathing musical legend and guitar god that is Slash of Guns N' Roses, Velvet Revolver, and of course Slash fame in just a little bit. Right now, though, let's you and I check out one of his latest with Miles Kennedy. It's Driving Rain.
Original sin, she is down once again. No, no. 'Cause I don't wanna be alone. 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 'Cause I don't wanna
I have Slash for you if you're ready.
I am ready. Slash, how are you?
I'm good. How's it going?
It's going awesome. Could you give me, just because I don't want to miss a second of this, can you give me a quick 1, 2 so I can make sure I got you before the tape's rolling?
Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2.
Thank you so much. I have been waiting. It seems like my entire life to have this conversation. And you know what? Generally speaking, I don't get nervous about anything, but I realized when he said Slash is on the phone for you, my heart started beating faster. Do you have this effect on a lot of people? Do people need to take a beat when they meet you?
I really, not that I know of, but who knows?
Well, we're going to talk about living the dream and the fact that you're playing your sold-out show at Kaboo on Sunday, but if I get a chance to ask you this question, I'm going to take it. If you had to pick one moment, maybe it was a show you saw, maybe it was a performance you saw on TV, or a record that you heard, or a song that really hit you. But if you had to pick one moment that made you realize that music was it for you, what would that be?
Well, okay. I mean, it's a tough question to answer because I've been an ardent music fan ever since I can remember, ever since I was a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like really little. And so I grew up with it, and it was a really healthy musical background. But I never aspired to be a musician until I was about 14, going on 15 years old. And the record that I was listening to at the time that really turned things around for me, that like spoke to me, was the Aerosmith Rock record.
No kidding.
I think that was pivotal in sort of me, you know, when I picked up the guitar, that sort of pointed me the direction that I was, you know, going to go. So, yeah.
Do you remember what you were doing when you first heard it, when it hit you?
Well, there was the first time I heard it, I was a BMX guy. And I had a bunch of guys that I rode with, but they were all older than me. And there was a party that one of them was having somewhere, and that there was a bunch of people around, and all the music that was on that night, someone put that record on, and I heard it, and I heard, like, I think, you know, the first song was Back in the Saddle, and it just caught my attention. And then the next time I heard it, I was over at this girl's house that I was trying to get into her pants for like a month. And she finally invited me over, and so we're like hanging out. Her parents were gone, and so, you know, there was different records like Zeppelin and Cheap Trick and this and that and the other. And then the Rocks record came out, and she put it on, and I heard that same first couple songs, and I listened to that record over and over and over again for about 2 hours, and then she finally said it was time to leave. So I gave up my conquest for that girl for that record. So.
Have you do you know what she's doing now? Have you ever spoken to her and be like, you know, we might not have made it happen, but you made something else happen, so thank you?
No, never. We never had that opportunity.
Well, you know.
Yeah, I don't know what ever became of her.
There's still time. Who knows? Perhaps she's listening now, and she'll... Yeah,
right. It would be a funny conversation, though, if she just popped up all these years later and said, "Hey, yeah, I remember that night."
So, all right, clear something up for me, because it is a rumor, and I've heard a couple people say this, and I just find it impossible to believe. Did you start playing guitar like right around 1981 or something like that? Is that the sort of time frame? Like if you're 14, 15, riding BMX goes away, girls go away because of Aerosmith Rock's album. Was it right around then that you started actually playing?
Yeah, I picked up the guitar. It had to have been 1980. That's when I picked up the guitar, because it was right at my 15th birthday. So that had to be 1980 right there.
That's insane, because I'm doing the mental math, and it means in just a couple years you were up in the game, you were writing, and in that amount of time you started writing iconic riffs that would literally change the world, that would change the landscape of music. You must be an incredibly driven person and a quick study.
Well, I'm definitely driven. I'm not sure about how quick a study I am, but I mean, once I apply myself to something, there's no stopping, you know. So when I picked up the guitar, that was all I lived and breathed for 24/7, you know. So you know, what I wanted to do was get a band together and start, you know, jamming. So as soon as I could put some chords together, I started a band. and it just sort of went from there.
It's absolutely insane to me. It's almost like you're like the Dennis Rodman of guitar, someone who just didn't pick it up until much later in life, but happens to be better than everyone else in the world at it. That's incredible.
Oh, well, no, that's not the case. I mean, I wouldn't even go there, but I guess it did go. It did get going pretty quickly. All things considered.
You came out of the box hot, as I believe the kids say.
Well, I was excited about it. I was very, very passionate about it. So, yeah. Anyway, okay.
No, clearly. And by the way, don't ever let me cut you off. You keep talking. You're Slash. I'm no one. If you have anything you want to add, please continue.
No, that pretty much covers it.
Okay.
It's just, the passion for guitar playing is something that just, it comes and then it just sort of takes, I'm still riding that wave still. And this is like 30 years later.
You and I will continue our chat with Slash of Guns N' Roses, Velvet Revolver, and of course Slash fame in just a little bit when we return. Thank you so much for hanging out. And thank you, Slash.
You walk these streets most every day. You're waiting to get washed away.
Now, more AD on the radio.
Time now for you and I to continue our conversation with the legendary Slash of Guns N' Roses, Velvet Revolver, and of course Slash fame. Seeing you on stage, it's interesting because I remember the first time I thought this when I was a kid and I saw Beastie Boys for the first time. It was more than seeing one of my favorite bands play. It wasn't they're singing, they're playing, they're doing it was, oh my gosh, they're being Beastie Boys. And when I see you, I go, oh my gosh, he's being Slash. It's more than just playing. It's more than just being there. It's more than just all the things. It's holy crap, he's being Slash, which is insane to me. But so much practice went into that. Do you still practice?
Yeah, I mean, all things considered, I put as probably as many guitar, hours into the guitar as I did when I started. It's one of those things that I always think I'm going to forget how to do it if I don't play every day. I just, it's like the only way that I ever get any better is when I'm jamming every day. If I can try and play every day, especially if I'm touring, that's when I really get my chops together. Is when I'm on stage jamming for an hour and a half to 3 hours every night. That's where it all comes together. So I sort of have it in my brain to constantly keep at it. Otherwise, it'll escape me.
Dude, it's unreal, and it's such a valuable thing for people to hear that behind, an icon is hours and hours of practice that still happens every single day. I love that you play every single day.
But I love playing too. It's not really so much practicing as I just enjoy playing the guitar, and I enjoy, coming up with stuff on it and discovering stuff and, working at it. So that's really where the time and effort comes from. It's not really so much studiousness as it is just loving to do it.
It's clear that you love to do it because, look, you're at a point in your life where if you don't want to, you don't have to. And I think that probably applies to a lot of different aspects of your life, but specifically with music. And you didn't really seem to take a break. I mean, living the dream, it seems that you actually must be living the dream, because trying to picture what your schedule must have been like over the last couple of years, and I can't imagine that you really have stopped. You could do anything, and you choose to do this.
Well, I could have. Guns N' Roses had a break that went from basically December to May, and that gave me enough time to go back in with the Conspirators and get this record together and record it, and then get back on the road with Guns N' Roses. But it was the only opportunity, and I wanted to be able to get the Conspirators record done because we had just sort of got into the preliminary pre-production in end of 2015. And then the Guns N' Roses thing happened, and I took advantage of that because, obviously I was really happy to be back with those guys. So we went out and toured, and it snowballed. I mean, it started out with 2 shows, and it turned into a U.S. leg, and then it turned into an additional European leg, and it just became this big thing. So at the first opportunity, I was still in the back of my mind, I wanted to get this Conspirators record done. So I did it in that period from really, we started in late January up until May, and then I went out with Guns, and now we're releasing the record, and I'm sort of juggling between the 2 bands on the road.
I get that, but my point is, you didn't go, I'm headed to the beach. You went, I'm going to keep making music.
No, I don't know. I don't know how to do that. I can take a break for maybe a week at best, and I had that over Christmas, and then I go crazy. So I have to keep busy because I don't sit around well. That's how I get myself in trouble. Too much free time,
Well, I guess we want to keep
a lot of years to learn that.
Well, we want to keep you making music and keep you out of trouble. In the spirit of you being able to do whatever you want to do at this stage in your life, I always wanted to ask you could work with anyone, which you did on your first solo record, like literally any vocalist you wanted to. So I'm wondering what it is about Myles Kennedy, because I've been a fan of his forever, since Mayfield 4. He's just got an absolutely incredible voice, and he's also like this ridiculous guitar player. But for him and you working together, what is it about him that makes the magic that we hear on the Conspirators records?
Well, I met him solely through him putting a vocal on a track that I did when I was making the solo record with all the different singers. I hadn't met him prior to that. I wasn't really familiar with Mayfield 4 or Alter Bridge, for that matter. Mm-hmm. So I just knew, I'd heard a lot about him. He was supposed to audition for Velvet Revolver, and he didn't show up. And so...
Well, hold on a second. Wait, and you gave him a second chance?
Well, I didn't know who he was. Matt Sorum knew who he was, and he gave me his phone number. He says, call this guy, send him the tape, maybe he'll be into it. So I called him up, I sent him the music. He said he loved it, and then when it came for him to come out to the audition, he vanished. So I sort of forgot all about it. So fast forward to 2009, and I didn't even know that was the same guy. I had no idea. And he's the one that told me that, I was going to, and I was like, oh, right, you're that guy that flaked. Anyway.
Did he ever explain himself like that? I slept through my alarm or something?
He said he got cold feet at the last minute. So,
it's cool. No, my heart started beating faster when I knew I was going to be talking to you. So I actually can kind of sort of understand and relate to that.
Yeah. So I had him do this one song, and he sent it back to me, sight unseen. I just talked to him on the phone and emailed him the song, and he put the vocal on it, and it was a song called Starlight, which is on that record with all the singers. And that's how we hit it off. He's just an incredible singer, but he's also a really cool guy, so we've just been working together ever since.
We are going to be lucky to be the beneficiaries of this when you play KAABOO on Sunday. You're going to be there with Robert Plant and Alice in Chains and all these bands. War is going to be there. Question for you, my last one is there anyone you're excited to see that day?
Well, you just named everybody you just named. Robert Plant. Robert's great, and I'm looking forward to seeing Alice in Chains. They got a new record coming out, if it's not out yet. I think I heard one song, but I don't think it's out yet. And then, so those are the two main ones. But then you just mentioned. Now, did you say War or Gore? Or what
No, War.
That's what I thought, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, so that was a band that I used to be into when I was a kid.
Sadly, right? I'm just looking. You're not going to be able to see them. They're playing a different stage the exact same time as you.
Well, it's just cool that they're on the bill.
I've taken up a lot of your time. I could talk to you forever, and you sound gracious enough to let me, but I'm going to be respectful and say thank you so much for being a part of our life. Thank you for everything that you've done. We cannot wait to see you on Sunday. Slash, you are the greatest.
Oh, man. Well, thanks a lot. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be an awesome night. So, all right, we'll see you down there.
All right, take care, man.
All right, cheers.
That is it for me. Thank you so much for hanging. Thank you for being a part of my radio family. If you missed any of the interview with Slash, well, that'll be up in full on my podcast page on the iHeartRadio app. If you're a fan, which I am, I got to be honest with you, it's good stuff. Thank you so much. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll do it all over again.